The first boots in space were from El Paso.
In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and test them out. Back to you, Natasha.
All right, looks fun. There goes Susie.
We were talking about things we did for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So I had to bring out my little, it's tiny, right? Because we had a little village.
The body of a Las Cruces soldier killed in Afghanistan over the weekend is back on American soil this morning.
It's that time of year. The Trans-Siberian Orchestra is in El Paso, set to perform at the Don Haskins Center. Joining us now, one of the band members, Al Petrelli, who plays guitar. Tell me kind of what goes through your head when you're performing and putting on so many shows back to back.
Meantime, federal agents are looking into a string of disturbing flyers posted around our area.
You're saying that people have been eating them. This year, somebody's actually going to eat one.
This man right here.
For every time that
Marcus, don't. Police need your help finding a man accused of using a sword to rob a Northeast El Paso convenience store last weekend.
Can I feed him?
Yeah, definitely.
How does this lettuce work? Obviously, it's not too much calories, right?
The seats are empty now, but come the summer, these seats are going to be filled with fans who are waiting to see these local bands taking over the stage. Next time you visit the El Paso Zoo, you could be walking out of here with a cat if you choose to adopt one of these little guys.
So, and it looks like she's ready to go down one of those slides. Hey, Susie.
That's right, Natasha. I have my bathing suit on. You know, I'm ready to test out these water slides, but these water slides are not the only attractions here at Camp Cohen. Underneath the beautiful views of the mountain, there's this gorgeous pool for laps and a rock wall. There's also a lazy river for people to paddle along. There's a leisure pool, and over in the middle, the water playground, which drops water from a large bucket at the top. This park is where the Cohen Stadium in Northeast El Paso used to be. In 2012, multi-million-dollar projects were approved by El Paso voters as part of the Quality of Life Bond. The city says Camp Cohen cost about $13 million. Destination El Paso says they are still hiring lifeguards and park attendants for the other 3 water parks as well.
Lifeguards, you have some comparability to swim, but we will teach you all the rest. If you are a basically swimmer, we can get you all certified to be a lifeguard out here in operations. And then for our guest services roles, we're looking for people with a great attitude that are going to enjoy working with us this summer.
The 3 other parks, Chapoteo, Oasis, and the Lost Kingdom are set to open later this summer. Coming up at 6, I'll tell you more about these water parks. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and test them out. Back to you, Natasha.
All right, looks fun. There goes Susie. Oh, so refreshing. New Era Wrestling is bringing in pro wrestlers from around the world to El Paso, promoting our city and bringing unique entertainment to locals. KTSM 9 News reporter Susy Castillo, that's her there in that silver mask. She stopped by this morning as New Era Wrestling prepares for a big show.
I brought an El Santo mask with me, ready for tonight's show. It's the first Lucha Libre show in El Paso since the pandemic, so I decided to take advantage of it, and I sneaked in as the crew was getting ready to see what makes a great show for Lucha Libre.
This is where pro wrestling friendships are made.
I was ready for a wrestling friendship, so El Paso's own Dulce Tormenta, or Sweet Storm, showed me a little something about wrestling in front of a crowd.
So you want your left hand on my neck?
She definitely took it easy on me.
You have both hands? And you're just like, ah! Yeah, there you go.
But not everything is planned out. When wrestlers enter the ring, they all want to win.
There's definitely a friendship between wrestlers outside of the ring. You know, we respect each other, but when it comes to being inside of the ring, that respect is totally lost. Obviously, you do want to be the one that ends up with your hand raised up.
Her family owns New Era Wrestling, and it was her brothers who inspired her to get in the ring. New Era Wrestling is having their first Lucha Libre show since the pandemic tonight at El Maida Shrine in Northeast El Paso.
These guys are spectacular. You know, it was always like, oh, wrestlers, oh. But you see them jump off the top rope onto this stage after I've seen how they built it. These guys are amazing athletes.
And they promise tonight's show is going to be amazing even for diehard fans.
Your mind's going to be blown. Just so many surprises, so many things happening tonight.
She is just one of the wrestlers you'll be seeing at tonight's show, inspired to represent El Paso in the ring and beyond the borderland.
Hit me in the shoulder. This is just the start of Sweet Storm. I'm not done yet, so there's just so much ahead of me, so many things I want to accomplish, and what better way than to have El Paso behind my back.
To find out how you can get tickets to a show and to find out which events are coming up, visit KTSM.com. Susy Castillo, KTSM 9 News.
Embassy, switch my office.
This is Victor Avila from ICE. We are shot. We are shot. We are on the highway of Querétaro, Mexico. We've been shot and attacked on the highway. I am an ICE special agent.
February 2011, Victor Avila calling the U.S. Embassy for help after he and his partner had been attacked on Highway 57, a road in Mexico they had been warned about. Avila had met his partner Jaime Zapata the day before their assignment had taken them on Highway 57. Avila was hired as an ICE special agent, U.S. diplomat in Mexico City, working out of the U.S. Embassy.
My main concentration in Mexico was human trafficking. I was helping dismantle organizations that traffic women and children from Mexico into the United States.
Agent Zapata was fairly new to Mexico City.
I met him that afternoon, but I felt like I met him all my life, because from the moment that I met him to the drive up until the ambush, we shared so many stories, so much information, that now that I look back, it's kind of, it's sad.
Their assignment was to transport equipment from Monterrey using the well-known highway.
I challenged the assignment because there had been a lot of issues with the Zeta cartels on Highway 57.
Avila says the U.S. Embassy had issued an alert 3 weeks before the assignment, stating no one was allowed on Highway 57.
The alerts and the intelligence was ignored by my supervisors, and they sent us on this assignment anyway.
On the way to Monterrey, everything seemed fine, but it was the trip back on Highway 57 when the chaos began. 2 SUVs with armed men ran them off the road.
They surrounded our Suburban. In the chaos of them trying to gain access into our armored Suburban, my window was cracked down a couple of inches on my right side, the armored window. And they were able to introduce an AK-47 and a handgun by my head. And I immediately raised the window to catch the barrels of both guns and to try to get them to wiggle them out of there. But without notice, they opened fire into the cabin, striking Special Agent Jaime Zapata several times. I got shot 3 times, once in the chest and twice in my left leg. And I saw Jaime get hit with an AK-47 round, which was a fatal shot in his left leg.
After the men would leave the scene, Avila would press down on Zapata's wound and call for help.
What is your name, you said, sir?
Victor Avila, please call Jerry Miles. I don't have another phone.
Where did you look at?
Please call Jerry Miles. We've been shot on the highway.
Highway? What is the highway, sir? To where?
Mexico, Querétaro. They know where I'm at.
Okay. Try to remain online, please.
It would take 40 minutes for someone to find them and help them get off of Highway 57.
My whole time there was try to keep Jaime alive and try to keep his wound from bleeding. And I hadn't even realized that I had been shot myself. And not until I was on the phone with the U.S. agents from the U.S. Embassy that one of the agents told me to check myself physically, which I did because I had a lot of shrapnel and glass in my face, and I had both my blood and Jaime's blood on me, so they said you have to physically check you, and that's the first time I saw my wound in my chest.
He says the time spent waiting for help felt very lonely.
A lot of emotions, a lot of helplessness.
Help would arrive by helicopter. They were rushed to the closest hospital.
They took Special Agent Jaime Zapata to one trauma unit. They took me to another. Later on, the doctor came over and informed me that Agent Zapata had passed.
Weeks after the ambush, the 8 shooters were caught and extradited to the U.S. They were tried in 2017. The 5 who pled guilty got sentences ranging from 12 to 35 years.
Which are very low, and the Zapata family and I disagree with sentences. The 2 that did not that did not plead guilty and went to trial, they were sentenced to 2 life consecutive sentences.
But it doesn't end there. Last year, the shooters appealed their sentence.
The appeal was granted by the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, and they dismissed the murder charge. So as I talk to you today, no one is accountable for the murder of Agent Jaime Zapata. They're there in prison, in U.S. prison, on attempted murder charges and the gun charges only.
The D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals says it was dismissed because the murder happened outside of the U.S. Avila is now working to help change the law in hopes they'll be resentenced to life in prison.
It is a lot of anger. I'm working a lot with the senators, the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association. There's a bill right now in the legislation. We're hoping it's a bipartisan bill that changes the wording of that law.
In the meantime, he's working on sharing Zapata's story.
I will continue to fight for justice for Jaime. I will continue to mention Jaime in all my public speaking events that I do. I mention Jaime because I don't want his death to be in vain. I want people to know the sacrifice that he gave to defend our homeland.
You can find a more descriptive account of what Avila and Zapata experienced on Highway 57 in a new book Avila recently published. Reporting at the U.S.-Mexico border, Susy Castillo.